This topic is very emotional and complex, especially for a Muslim like me, because the struggle that Palestinian people are facing for decades hit really close to home. At the same time, I want to approach this topic with balance and avoid unnecessary sensationalism without getting very one-sided. Because addressing oppression doesn't mean we have to attack someone else's faith or generalize or stereotype an entire group of people.
But again, you're blaming Jewish people. Why?
Because they're pushing this.
What do you mean they're pushing it? What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, they're controlling the media. I mean, the DEI is being pushed by BlackRock. BlackRock's execs are all Jewish. You look at where this is coming from. It's not a surprise.
Dan,
all the Disney execs are Jewish.
Dan,
they're pushing it on children.
But do you accept, Dan, that you are just blatantly anti-Semitic?
Look, I have an issue with that term. I mean, I think the real Semites are the Palestinians. I mean, the DNA tests that they've done on the Israelis that are living over there, they're Eastern European Ashkenazi Jews. I don't even think they're actual Semites. They don't have ancient Hebrew DNA, which is why DNA testing is illegal in Israel.
But, I mean, you're literally denying their existence now. I mean, you are.
So his BlackRock theory and similar theories, they kind of enter the territory of more conspiracy theories, and I'm going to, since they are unfounded and not factual, I can't comment on that. But I do agree that media coverage, especially in the Western media, definitely show more of the Israel side than of the Palestinian perspective. They actually minimize the Palestinian perspective. And you can see even this guy like Piers Morgan, I have watched so many of his videos, and he always take a pro-Israeli side. I don't know if deep down he is more pro-Palestinian or what, but in media he's always shown to like support Israel.
I don't like a religion that says that they're better than other people. And what's that?
Well, you do. You obviously do. It's blatant. No one watching this will draw any other conclusion. I'm staggered about how brazen you've been.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it when people think they're better than other people. And you see that in Israel, and they're acting like that, and they're treating Palestinians like second-class citizens. They're treating them like subhuman beasts, and it sells that in their Talmud. So it says if you are not a Jew, that you are basically subhuman. And I don't think that Judaism and Christianity go hand in hand. I mean, they believe that Jesus is in hell burning in human shit, and they believe the Virgin Mary is a whore. So I don't think those are two religions that really intersect very well. But, you know, we've been programmed that they do, and we've been programmed that it's okay and that Jews are the chosen people, and I just disagree with that. I think everybody's equal.
Do you even comprehend how this interview is going to play out when it airs?
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be bad. But, you know, my opinion is not politically correct, but I believe that is the truth. You know, there's 2 billion Muslims, but everybody wants to, you know, promote this anti-Muslim, this hatred for Muslim, like they're all, you know, these terrorists. And I think the Israelis are the terrorists. I think they are the ones perpetuating the big acts of terrorism. And, you know, nobody wants to talk about that.
And what do you say to Jewish people who may watch this and be utterly horrified by what they're hearing?
They can be horrified. I mean, I was horrified to find that they mass murdered Christians. I was horrified to learn the things that they teach in the Talmud. I was horrified that they think that Jesus is burning in shit in hell.
First of all, just because Piers Morgan did not interrupt him whatsoever and appear very calm, I'm just really thinking like whose side he is on, or like it's usually he interrupts people. So he's just very calm and letting him speak about everything 2 times. So Dan Bilzerian, very outrageous statement. And I really don't know like everything he said about like in Judaism, they think like this about Virgin Mary and Jesus. It's just like, I've never heard about it. So I would definitely ask ChatGPT and clarify that. Hey ChatGPT, can you please tell me what are Jewish beliefs on Jesus and Mary?
In Judaism, Jesus and Mary are not central religious figures, and their roles differ significantly from their portrayal in Christianity and Islam. Here's how they are generally viewed. 1. Jesus, Yeshua. Judaism does not recognize Jesus as the Messiah or as divine. Instead, he is seen as a historical figure who lived in the first century. Jewish teachings reject the idea that Jesus fulfilled the messianic prophecies found in the Hebrew Bible, such as bringing universal peace, rebuilding the temple in Jerusalem, and gathering the Jewish exiles back to Israel. He is not considered a prophet in Judaism, and his role in Christianity is seen as outside the framework of Jewish theology. 2. Mary, Miriam. Mary is not a significant figure in Jewish tradition or religious teachings. The concept of her virgin birth of Jesus is not recognized in Judaism and is seen as a Christian belief. In Jewish tradition, there is no theological emphasis on Mary, and she is not mentioned in Jewish religious texts.
It is kind of a news to me. I actually don't know that much about theology of Judaism and Jewish beliefs. I know more about Christianity and of course Islam, because that's my religion. And the third religion I know a lot about is Buddhism. I know a little bit about Hinduism. However, I have felt that Jewish people are very similar to Muslims, and it's just so sad that we are just fighting historically forever. Muslims are extremely family oriented, and that's what I see among Jewish people too. And they have the same concept of community how Muslims have, and they have the same concept of like respecting their elders. So these are few things that I've noticed in Jewish people around me. I want to talk, I've heard so much about Jewish supremacy, so I'm going to ask ChatGPT what does she think about it. Can you please explain Jewish supremacy and what does their book say, talk about it, and what does Quran talk about Jewish supremacy?
Jewish supremacy in context. The concept of Jewish supremacy often emerges from misinterpretations of Jewish religious texts and teachings. Judaism does not promote the idea of racial or ethnic superiority, but some religious concepts can be misunderstood as such. Here's an explanation. What Jewish texts say. 1. Chosen people concept. In Judaism, the Jewish people are referred to as the chosen people, segula, which means they were chosen by God to follow the Torah and fulfill a specific covenant. This designation is about responsibility, not superiority. Jews are tasked with upholding ethical and moral laws to serve as an example for humanity, rather than being inherently better than others. 2. Interpretation of the Torah and Talmud. Certain passages in Jewish texts, particularly the Talmud, can appear exclusive or discriminatory when taken out of context. For example, some discussions focus on the obligations of Jews versus non-Jews, but these are theological, not about inherent worth. Judaism teaches that all humans are created in the image of God, Genesis 1:27, emphasizing universal human dignity. The Quran on Jewish exclusivity. The Quran addresses the behavior and attitudes of certain Jewish groups during the time of revelation. It critiques specific actions but does not generalize about all Jews. Key points include 1. Privileges and responsibilities. The Quran acknowledges that Jews were chosen by God for a special covenant, granting them unique guidance and blessing, Quran 2:47, 45, 16. However, it also emphasizes that this covenant came with responsibilities, and deviations from God's guidance were criticized, Quran 2:88, 5:13. 2. Critique of arrogance. The Quran condemns any belief in superiority based on ethnicity or religion. It stresses that righteousness, not lineage, determines a person's worth before God, Quran 49:13. For example, the Quran addresses claims by some groups that only they would attain salvation or God's favor, rejecting such exclusivism, Quran 2:11-1 or 12. 3. Inclusivity of Islam. Islam teaches that divine guidance was given to many nations, including the Jews, and that salvation is open to all who follow God's commands, regardless of their background, addressing misconceptions about supremacy. The idea of Jewish supremacy, as alleged by critics or conspiracy theories, often distorts religious teachings or takes them out of context. It's important to distinguish between theological beliefs about a group's covenant with God and harmful ideologies that promote superiority or exclusion.
So there you have it. In the eyes of Allah, the best is the one who is righteous. Please let me know in the comment section what are your thoughts